Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
All right, everybody out there in podcast land, it is the first or third Tuesday of the month, and that means Heaping Spoonful right here in Benny Keith Studios out in Rose City. Man, I will tell you, so it has been a wild ride with this podcast, but it's been a lot of fun, for sure, because I get to talk to people like you on here. And everybody knows that I have this crazy, absurd, wild, obsession with food. But to talk about myself just for a second, because this isn't about me, but I spent a lot of time in the beer world. Probably too much time in the beer world. And I can remember why I did, because the first time I ever drank a Boulevard Tank 7, and I was like, what just happened? I don't know what this is. I was used to stealing Yingling lager from my dad because I grew up in PA. So I was that's what I used to drink because, well, that's what my dad drank. And for the longest time I was like, is this I guess this is the only beer. I don't know. Yeah. I was of age the entire time. The whole time
Absolutely.
I was drinking.
Of course.
The whole
course
time I was drinking.
Yeah.
The whole time I was stealing beers out of the fridge. It was legal. Just going to put that out there. But today we have Josiah Moody of Moody Brews. What's up, man?
Hey, Brian.
Dude, let me tell you this. The reason why I wanted to put it out there.
Also, I'm going to interject.
Yeah.
That was a great intro.
Oh,
that
thank
was
you.
baller.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's me driving on the way over here.
Is it? Yeah.
Trying to get my podcast voice on.
I just did a TV thing last week, and I'm always amazed at people that can just ad-lib this stuff. Or even if it's not perfect, 100% ad-lib, just this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to do it cleanly. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I
will say this. They're not all good.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, that's not I might actually know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know. But, man, listen, I'm going to throw this out there. And this isn't me, I don't know if you know this expression, but this isn't me, shining shoes or anything like that. This is me, just being blatantly honest. And if you know my cousin, who, we have this kind of interaction with each other where sometimes we get blatantly honest with each other to the point where you're like, hey man, you got a problem, bro? But I spent a lot of time in the beer world.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do consider myself a little bit of a beer snob. Where I came up, I worked with a gentleman by the name of John Dale who was he was doing craft beer 30 years before anybody else was doing it. And he wasn't brewing it, but he introduced me to a lot of just amazing beer. It was the first time I ever had Pilsner Urquell with him, which is why we have that on tap. First time I ever had, I'm trying to think, Weinstefaner, some of the German beers, that kind of stuff, So I would consider myself a little bit of a beer snob. I'm not saying that I 100% am not the end all be all, of course, when it comes to that, or actually anything that we talk about. I am not the end all be all of any of that. But my cousin was very much Brian, I know how you feel about beer, so you need to taste some of this guy's beers,
hell yeah. Yeah.
And man, it's good, dude. It's good. And the thing about it is too, so I want to get into your history for a second.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to get into your history, I should say, in a second. But I do want to talk about the Earl Grey real quick.
Yeah.
Just because I can still taste it. And to me, that's kind of one of those things, that's a tell of a good flavor, a good beer, a good... to me, that's a good sense. When I smell Earl Grey tea now, I think about that beer. When it used to be something different, and just the mouthfeel of it. And man, listen, I think that there's a lot of people out there that have tried to do like a tea beer. I think Elysian has a jasmine.
Yeah.
Like a jasmine tea beer,
IPA or
something. Yeah, which is good. It's a good beer. But that Earl Grey, man, it's good. It's good. But we'll touch on that.
Okay.
And, dude, where are you from? Like, are you from Arkansas?
Yeah. Since like the 3rd grade, lived here more,
Okay.
you know, like until graduate high school and then college. Spent a lot of time in Asheville, actually.
Oh,
college
okay.
summers. And then an off season there.
Oh, all right.
And bounced around a little bit to South Carolina, to Nashville for a little bit, and back home. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So jumped around a little bit. Is Asheville as crazy as everybody says it is?
So I was there a long time ago, like 20. I was thinking about it today because I was afraid you were going to ask this question, and I'm awful with dates. So 2000, I was there, you know, like 99 through 02 ish. And it's still like I hold that part of the country in such esteem. I love it. I loved being there. That is also where I got introduced really to craft beer.
Okay.
Now, what Asheville's like today, I don't know. I haven't been back since then, so
Gotcha.
I got a feeling it's quite different. But
Is it, was there like a specific beer or like a specific?
there was.
Yeah, which
It's,
one?
you probably, Jess probably has mentioned it. We may have the same craft beer moment. Highland Gaelic Ale
Oh,
changed my
I
like
love a
world.
good Gaelic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, what was it about? Like, I can tell you, like specific beers of mine that I've tasted, where like they kind of like made me like really think about my life. I was like, what just happened? But I think about like mouthfeel, flavor, and I also think like I get really mad because, well, how come I can't do this? What is this? Like, what is happening right now? Yeah.
Well, I too had the light lager upbringing just in the South, right? So with red cans, Budweisers, and I as an aside, I do find it kind of hilarious how like people have. It's just cultural history, but how they've said this is my light lager. All the other light lagers are awful.
Yes.
And I mean, there is difference in flavors, but it's kind of slight.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's just a camp. It's just a team.
Yeah.
In my opinion, on that world. But yeah, so I had that, this is bitter beer face and all that as when I was 21.
Right.
Taking my dad's light lagers. And then, had got introduced to craft beer in Asheville with Gaelic Ale. And there was just the maltiness, the malty notes. First time you actually taste some malt notes.
Yeah, right.
And at the time, this is hops. Now, there's not a lot of hops by today's standards, but
Yeah.
it changed my palate completely. And it was like, wow, this can be like really flavorful. This stuff it's not just for the effect,
Right. Yeah, like beer could actually be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of beers that when I figured out there was other beer out there than Yingling Lager, and I was like, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna drink it because I'm an idiot.
Right,
I'm hanging out with all my buddies, and I mean that's what we're drinking, But that's not good beer.
Yeah.
So so this can be good, and then you start. I think you start noticing like the different nuances in different beers, and then you're kind of like, once I learned the brewing process, which I'm going to ask you about in a second, but once I learned like the brewing process, and I learned that there's malt and hops and all that kind of stuff, and then the difference between like when we started home brewing, like the difference between like extract and actually brewing beer, and like that kind of stuff. You're like, oh wait, well, if we put the hop in at this time instead of this time, or I use darker malt and all that, which is the recipes are just obviously they're endless because how many beers are out there, know. But there's a lot of really good beer out there. There's a lot of really bad beer out there too. Yeah. Let's talk about the process here for a second.
Okay.
So go through a process of, say, like, let's not talk Earl Grey, but let's just talk a lager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like how's it start? Process.
The brew day kind of thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to also selfishly plug the Isabel Farms rice. That's
why we're
stuff,
here.
Right? So, like, it's just down the road. Not
Hell yeah.
From where we are, right?
You said Isabel Farms?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're the rice farmers that make the sake rice for not only origami, but all of basically North America, sake brewers, farmed about 30, 50 miles away from here.
Right up the street. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. And a truly family farm, truly great people. If I can be permitted to deep dive this story.
Do it.
I love this story.
Do it.
So I knew, because you asked about lagers.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew when I started Moody's that I wanted, one of the offerings was a light beer.
Mm.
And I also know we're in Arkansas, the largest rice producing state in the country. And so I was like, well, we got to lean into that, right? And so, because for a long time, rice was looked down upon by craft brewers using rice. It was an inferior product.
I know back home it was. Yeah.
Yeah. All grain was supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
But here we are in Arkansas producing a lot of rice, and a lot of that rice goes up to Budweiser and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So there's, they don't have to have a stranglehold on that, in my opinion. There's validity to, the enjoyability of a light beer too, like in and of itself. So anyway, I wanted to do that. And so I hit up, just cold called, Googled, called every rice mill around that I could find on Google. Got 0 people to call me back. One person emailed me back and said, okay, I think I understand what you're asking for. You want a train car load or what? How about a bag?
How about a
About
bag?
50-pound bag? And they didn't respond. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to Sam's Club to get the rice. And then Isabel Farms reached out to me, and they're, a relatively small farm, and they're the exact entity that I had envisioned.
Right.
So we're working with them on actually using the broken rice from the sake rice varieties. That quick deep dive on sake stuff is, you get the rice pearled or de-shelled, de-husked, and then for sake you have to finely mill it,
right,
into the different degrees in which you mill that husk or kernel is kind of a rough standard of quality for the grade of sake that you're making. Well, the Isabels mill it, grow it and mill it there. And what they are left with is a ton of rice flour that they currently don't have a use for. So I was buying brokens, and then Harrison, one of the family farmers there, was like, hey, if you can figure out what to do with this rice flour, I'm basically giving it away for food,
right,
cattle feed, or not cattle, dog food,
right,
ingredient, for pennies. It's not. It's, if you can figure out a way to use this flour, we might be on. It would be very helpful for me. And so the trick with the lager is, and rice in particular, is you have to get the starch that's on the rice, that is part of the rice, into sugars. So starch is 2 or more sugars linked together, and you have to turn those into simple sugars, single sugar molecules, so the yeast can eat them and make alcohol out of them. So there's a trick to that, and that's really why craft brewers kind of don't do it, because it's a harder process. You have to pre-treat the rice, and then you can use it.
Okay.
Basically steam it.
Okay.
It's called gelatinization, but basically you're steaming rice.
Right.
And very large breweries are purpose-built to include that in their process.
Okay.
Craft breweries generally don't have that extra, basically big steam kettle,
Right.
to do all that. So it's harder, pain in the butt, and if not, and longer brew days and more complicated brew days to do rice lagers. However, what we found is that this flour is so finely milled that we don't have to do that gelatinization step.
Okay.
So it can go straight in with the grain, straight in with your normal brew day, and you can make rice lagers in a very simple throughput process.
That's pretty badass.
Pretty big deal. And on my little 31-gallon system, that's where we figured that out.
Wow.
And so there's other national breweries taking interest in that now. Craft breweries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So pretty cool.
That's really cool. And, just the science behind it is just me, because I always think of craft brewers like as they're scientists. I mean, they really are. I mean, you guys really are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing. Which is funny because nobody ever thinks of it that. But some of the smartest people that I know brew beer. Yeah. It's certainly a thing. Now, what's the name of the beer that you brew with it?
New Ground Pills.
It's a New Ground Pills.
Yeah.
That has that amazing mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Because of the flour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we don't, it's not uncommon for breweries to sort of throw a grain of rice in it and call it a rice lager, like not really
right
embrace it or figure out how to really work with it. This one's brewed with about 30% of the total grain weight by rice.
Wow.
Which is a fairly high.
I was going to ask that, but I didn't know if you wanted to give away any secrets.
Yeah. No, that's like, that's a leaning into using rice for a significant amount of your sugar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And I haven't had, I think there's a couple people in the area that might be doing, but not like that. I think it's like you said, like we're going to put some rice in here so we can call it that, but not like you said, leaning into it the way that you're talking about it.
And figuring out how to actually do it. But what, it's what I hope to see is that the idea, there is plenty of rice flour to go around with Isabel's. Right. They still need way more than, I can use.
Right.
And so they are using like me as a reference to sort of, hey, brewers around the state, pick this up and see what you think. This is how Josiah's doing it and all that.
Wow. That's really cool.
So we're trying to,
working with them and pushing out, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear about those relationships.
Oh yeah, because it really, this relationships in beverage for sure, but also in restaurants. That's kind of like,
dude, relationships
farmer, it means a lot.
Yeah. We work with Legacy Farms who do some micros for us and stuff like that, and obviously we support the craft beer scene, especially local. But those relationships are a lot of the things, like that story. Like, I'm hoping that most of the people like heard that story that were listening to this podcast right now and be like, yeah, that's pretty badass. I mean, that's awesome, because it is.
It really is. Yeah.
And there is, and when you're trying to build that relationship, like I've done so many times, the trial and error process, like you didn't know that it was going to be 30%. Like, so that whole process, you're like, listen, man, I'm going to figure this out, I think. but if you keep working with me, like we're going to figure this out, you know, and it takes a while. How long have you been working with them now?
Oh, since about a year. Yeah.
About a year. Yeah. And man, I'm pretty sure I've had that beer. I think I have.
You've had that beer at your dinner.
It was at the dinner.
Yeah. I think this is our welcome beer.
Oh, that's right. It was the welcome beer. So it wasn't paired with anything, right? We just welcomed with it. Is that what it was?
I
don't remember either. It's all a blur. I don't even remember yesterday. I shared my calendar on my phone with my wife like just as early as like 3 or 4 months ago, because she just started being like, what do you have going on today?
Yeah.
And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So I shared my calendar with my wife, and she's like, what is this? And I'm like, this is what you asked for. Okay, you asked for it. Like, for today on the calendar, it just said Josiah 10 a.m. And she's like, what does that even mean? It doesn't matter.
You know.
I know what it
means. It's all that matters, yeah.
But that's my memory. You know? Well, let's talk about, all right, so Moody Brews, you're over in Petaway.
I am, yeah.
But that wasn't your first location. You had a go at it before, right?
Yeah. So, learned how to brew vinos back in
Like so many people have.
2011. Yeah. I was on the path. I was in med school and dropped out because I hated it. And for stupid reasons, looking back, probably not the smartest reasons, but here we are today.
Yeah.
So I'm a biologist before that even, and like, so.
Proves my point that most brewers are smart.
Got it. And but learned homebrew along the way a little bit here and there, and then got really into it when I left med school and said, I think I just want to do this and figure it out from there with the twinkle in the eye of an idea of opening Moody Brews back then, but many steps along the way. So I begged and pleaded for a job at Vino's and got one cleaning kegs.
Which is kind of like the entry level.
I mean, yeah.
Like you got to pay your dues type of.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's like peeling potatoes.
It is, exactly.
Yeah, shucking oysters.
Yeah. 100%. And so did that work, and then, you just outlast people or whatever. And, work your way up to head brewing. So you did that at Vino's, and then was presented in 2014 with an opportunity to, at the time it was called not Ghost Brew, but Gypsy Brew, which is you go to a different brewery, a larger brewery, make your beer, basically a contract brew.
Oh, okay.
And we did that. And in 2014, and that's when Moody Brews really kind of launched. Mm-hmm. I had no money. I had no, marketing push.
How most of us start. I don't have any money right now.
I was going to say, nothing's changed.
Still broke.
But it was kind of like a cult favorite kind of thing. Cool little, very small distributor. And we rolled with that. So I'd go to a brewery called now known as Prairie Artisan Ales in Nowheresville, Oklahoma.
Great brewery.
Great brewery. Really good, cool dudes, cool people over there. And so we would brew I did 2 batches, 2 styles of beer, and then they were bottled and distributed back here to Arkansas. And we did that for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And all of it was, we moved product. It was at a very high price point. And there was very little margin for Moody to make money off of that through all of that. And but it was a very, very strong lesson in how to do this business.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't really like self-sustaining for me. And so we kind of shut that down, and I took other jobs, opened Damn Good Brewery in the River Market after Bosco's was formerly in there.
Yes.
And that was kind of a fiasco. Left there, went back to Vino's for a little bit, opened, then had an opportunity to be the head brewer of Bike Rack Brewing Company up in Bentonville. When they expanded. We lasted there for about 18 months back home to Little Rock with the eventual idea of getting, however small, getting investors, doing my own thing. And that took all of COVID.
Yeah.
Plus some.
But timing.
Yeah, but here we are today.
I know how that feels. I think of the creative process, I've said this so many times, and I was on a phone call with a gentleman who, possible future employee of ours. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But long story short, we had a conversation. And I said this to him, and many people who have listened to this podcast hear me say it before. I think we're very lucky to the point where we get to make a living doing what we love to do.
Sure.
But like if everybody listened to the story that you just told, it's like it takes a lot to get there.
A lot of failures.
Eventually there's all those failures. But you also get to a mindset where you're like, man, I don't want to do this for anybody else anymore. I just want to do it for myself.
Yeah.
And whatever I have to do that, whether it's moving your family across the country,
Right.
or just being like looking for investors and being like, listen, I don't want to do it for anybody else anymore. I just want to do it for myself and for my family, and I want to do what I love, you know? And, man, you talked about going to med school, being a biologist and stuff like that. Like, man, the little bit that I know about you, you've probably been very successful doing that, but you would have been miserable.
I saw the writing on the wall for sure.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I took a step away from the restaurant business. Well, I wouldn't say 100%. Like I was a purchasing agent for an electronics company for years. Okay. And I was still like moonlighting at night, like doing some bartending and some stuff. But I was sitting in front of the computer and I was like, this is a joke. I don't want to do this. This is crap. I'm not doing this the rest of my life. I'm miserable. Like, and I was young then. I was like, no. I was like, I'm gonna be responsible and I'm gonna give my notice. But that day, I was like, hey, my boss at the time, Kevin Bromberger, I was like, hey man, I want to give my notice. He was like, what? I was like, I can't do this, man. I will give you a 2 weeks notice. If you want me to stay for a month, I will, but I got to go back to the restaurant business. I can't do this, man.
I tell people for just kind of non-hospitality people that may toy with the idea. I think everybody has toyed with that idea. I have this dish and let's do this. And I tell people,
don't do it.
Unless like you can't imagine not do, like you have to. It's not a I think this would be fun or something. I want to do restaurant or any hospitality concept. Honestly, you do it because you can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be that driven because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really
difficult
hard.
business. And if you don't know how to fail and fail well, then you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. And it's unfortunate, but like you're not always right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just, and if you can't accept that, if you're that person that has to be right all the time, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Not this business, whether it's brewing or food or anything.
Yeah.
Or in just opening your own business in general. Like just, Rob, you just met Rob, head of tech over here, Benny Keith. Shout out to Rob Nelson. We love Rob. He's the guy here. But he was just saying like some of his family members were like, you work at Benny Keith, like maybe we should open up like a little cafe. And he was like, no, I work at Benny Keith. I see what these people do, and they've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and I've had that conversation many times.
Yeah.
But it's a tough business, and I know that brewing is the same, but man, it is rewarding. It really is rewarding.
I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to do. I want to take a quick break.
Okay.
All right. And when we get back, I want to talk about the lineup that you have on now.
Heard.
Okay. What we can see in the future as far as on tap. I do want to talk about some of your staff over there. That I love.
Okay.
And I also want to get into Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Let's talk about Oktoberfest. Yeah,
Heard.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be right back with Josiah Moody on Heaping Spoonful.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Chef Brian McFadden.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Heaping Spoonful. We are sitting here. I'm across the table from Josiah Moody of Moody Brews. Josiah, we talked about where you came from. We talked about how you get started in the brew business. We talked about how you finally put your foot down and you were like, I'm just doing this. Like, I got to do this. I'm going to do it for myself. And you're a family man, too.
I am, yeah.
Wife, how many kids do you have?
2.
You got 2?
Yep.
You got 2. How old are they?
11 and 8.
Do they spend a lot of time at the brewery?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. They could probably brew right now.
Yeah.
Pick up that grain. My kids spend a lot of time in and out.
Do they?
But that's another thing too, because we touched on, as far as life and what us never leaving the business, and we just love it so much. But the family gets involved too, and it's a big thing. It's great. I've been over there before, and I've seen your family over there, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
I am going to pronounce your wife's name wrong, so I'm going to let you say it.
Kachiri.
Yeah. And you brew a beer for Kachiri.
I do. Have for a long time now.
Yeah.
So Kachiri's Belgian, and I happen to love Belgian saisons, but I always brew like her beer. We call it Kachiri's beer, and it's a ever evolving one, but it's based around a stronger and hoppier saison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you that you of all people can certainly correct me. I am a sucker for a good saison. I talked about Tank 7 here earlier.
Yeah.
I love a good saison. And saisons were originally brewed, tell me if I'm wrong, but they were brewed in the winter to drink during the summer, the farmers in the fields. And originally it was brewed at a low ABV.
Yeah.
I'm not, what's Kachiri's, I know it's a little different, but what's the ABV of that?
Oh, it highly varies, but somewhere between 7 and 10.
Now, like
depending on the style,
depending on
treatment of it.
The treatment. Yeah. Gotcha. I know that like American saisons have gone up a little bit in ABV. I think Tank 7 is 7 or 8 or something like that.
Now I also brew an Aria's beer, which is a low ABV. 4% saison.
Now
which is named after my daughter,
which is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna sit here and I'm probably gonna say like, I don't know if I had that beer, and you're gonna be like, Brian, that was at the fucking dinner.
It wasn't. This one was not. So you're clear.
But it's great style. But let's talk about your lineup over there. Now I can say this: like we talk about wine, we talk about beer, we talk about. Man, when it comes to like distilling, like you have to have your basics, okay? Like I can tell you, like from a restaurant owner, what we like to do at any restaurant I've ever run, or this is obviously my first go at owning a restaurant, but I think
I can't. Is this when Brian says brewed and barley's basic? Because it ain't.
No. What I mean is, I think I shouldn't say basic. I says you have to have your standards.
That's okay. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So like I think
we call them year-rounders here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that now, not from a brewery perspective, but from a restaurant owner perspective, I like to have like a Pilsner on. I like to have a lager on. I like to have an IPA on. We like a wheat beer or even a saison or something, and something on the darker range, say like an amber or something like that, and a dark beer.
Yeah.
And I feel that like not every. I guess the standards would be what like a Pilsner, a wheat, a brown lager, or like where do you stand in that?
Well, you're speaking to a Vino's brewer.
Oh, okay.
Where it's the cream ale, blonde ale, firehouse pale ale, English. It's actually kind of cool. An English style pale ale, Lazy Boy Stout, and then the Pinnacle IPA. So to me, those are kind of the general basics. So yeah, lighter blonde lager or ale or whatever, but lighter beer, low hopped. A darker beer, generally, something hoppy for sure, and then something in the range of balance between malt and hops.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Generally,
I would certainly agree with that for sure. Now I want to touch on something though. You talked about did you say English lager or English pills?
English pale.
English pale.
Vinos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What makes it English?
It's a whole style for sure.
Zone specific style. Yeah.
So it's amber in color.
Okay.
Finished with British hops, which are Fuggles generally.
Okay.
Name of the hop. So that hop generally tends toward more grass, very light citrus, but kind of a older school style for sure.
Easy drinking.
Pub ale kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great with pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah, should be. Yeah, well, it better be. Yeah. There's so many different styles out there. It's crazy. Like you talked about it, Gaelic. I mean, it's funny. The first time I had Killian's Irish Red.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
I love that beer. We used to drink that beer with breakfast. Those were some dark times, but they were good times. But they were, I had a roommate, Zia Fiorella, and Zia used to. He would like make scrambled eggs with like, well, our version of fried bologna in Pennsylvania is called pork roll.
Okay.
And, chopped up pork roll, scrambled eggs, and like whatever kind of cheese we had in the fridge. And then he'd just be like, boom, Killian Irish Red. Like, that's breakfast, guys.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. And we say breakfast because breakfast is like when you go to sleep and then you wake up, but I don't think there was any sleep there.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Breakfast time, I should say. Killian's Irish Red. Shout out to Killian's. Do they even brew that anymore?
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do.
Surely.
I haven't had one in a while,
Me either.
but I would. What's your seasonal lineup right now? Because it is seasonal, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You have your standards on, or like
there's 3 that we keep on, and in fact, 2 of those 3 we brew in larger batches up at Point Remove Brewing Company.
Okay.
Because I have a very small brewery in Petaway, and there's no way we can keep up with what, with sales without going up in bigger batches. So that's where we are. And those are the New Ground Pills and the Earl Grey ESB. Earl Grey is our best seller, which I'm very proud of to say that. Then Pilsner number 2, and then we do a Cuban coffee inspired brown ale called Cuban Pool, and those are the 3 that we call them year rounders that are generally always on. And then there's always going to be something hoppy. There's hopefully 2 ciders. Sometimes I don't get to that. Ciders have been a giant surprise to me.
Huge. We were just up at Squeeze Box up in Hot Springs, and my wife had a cider up there, and it was damn good.
Yeah.
It was really good. In this giant, like 22-ounce mug.
Really?
Yeah. My wife's not much of a drinker. She was like, I think I want a drink. And I was like, what are you going to have? And she was like, I'm going to have the cider. Because I guess, she's not a beer drinker really, but a cider.
Yeah, girl.
And then she was like, then the server was like, would you like a 16 or a 22 ounce? And she was like, will you drink some of it? And I was like, will I drink? Yeah. And she was like, oh, give us the 22. And it came out in like this giant mug. And she was like, oh my God, it might have.
Was it usually my ciders land like kind of higher ABV.
Yeah, I think it was around 6.
Okay.
Which is
22 ounces.
Yeah, and I was like, I drank most of it.
Yeah.
And I do think it was the bottom of the keg a little bit.
Okay.
It was a little muddy, which I didn't mind.
Right.
I was fine with it, but either way. But yeah, ciders are a thing, man. Yeah.
Ciders were a giant surprise. As a brewer, cider making is, not the way that we make ciders currently, unless you're a dedicated cidery, if that's the right word for it, where you have an estate of apples and all that. It's everybody gets the same juice essentially, and so it's fairly routine on cider making, and I knew, almost as an afterthought, we've got to have something. Probably not going to be able to do like seltzers. Just my system isn't set up for that, so I can't filter it to the clarity that a seltzer requires. So we're going to do ciders, and so it was kind of almost an afterthought. But like as a we're going to be a beer place, and then we'll probably have some ciders. Ciders have become a giant portion of our. So, they fly, and I'm actually learning to have a lot of fun with them.
There's a lot of room there.
There is
to be creative.
Yeah. It's like all the fruits are in play essentially.
Yeah.
You can really. I like to not do too many fruits together. Keep about 2, and that's 2. The interplay between 2, I find is kind of the.
What's your favorite combination of fruits you use?
Maybe it's just top of mind, but this watermelon lime cider that we have on now is like kind of slapping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, watermelon lime. My wife's going to listen to this, and she's going to get mad at me. Like, how come I haven't had this before? Like, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Well, you got a car. Like, yeah. But no, that's right up her alley. Watermelon lime, especially this time of year in the Arkansas heat.
Yes. Yeah.
Arkansas watermelons?
No.
No.
I've done it before with melons. It's a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
Number one. And then number two, the juice is
Don't get what you need out of it.
yeah, it's very dilute. And so what I'm getting essentially it's watermelon juice, but it's like concentrated. So
Okay,
it's
yeah.
cold boiled or whatever. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's it's like a very concentrated watermelon juice, and then I can use it to a degree that works for me. I've done a couple of batches with Arkansas melons, and one is the juice is just so easy for infection. Like you have to use it almost immediately, or it spoils.
Gotcha.
So it's really kind of hard to figure that part out.
Right. Ciders are certainly a thing. I remember the first cider I ever had. It was funny because my buddy Johnny Monty back home, who kind of introduced me to some craft beer. Well, he did introduce me. The first guy I ever brewed with. He was like, "Dude, have you ever have a cider?" And I was like apple cider, bro? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, "Just drink this." It was woodchuck cider.
Oh yeah,
an old woodchuck, and they did like the Granny Smith, whatever it was.
Oh yeah.
And then they sold the variety. And when you're in your 20s and you're an idiot, you're like, just get a woodchuck and we'll chug them in between the good beer that we're drinking, But ciders have come such a long way. Actually, I'll give another shout out to one that we can't get down here is Down East cider out of Boston.
Okay.
Down East is a thing. Like people are from Boston and they're like down East.
Yeah.
Same thing you talked about. They're two college guys, brothers, who their dad owned an orchard. And they would come home in the cider in the summer, and they would just make cider.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they were like, there was like a competition, and they entered it, and they won.
Okay.
Out of like 100. And
Yeah.
Wow, this is actually
very
good.
cool.
And now it's called Down East cider, but it's good. But they make like a hop cider and all that, and it's good. But ciders took on a whole new world now. But I imagine in the brew business, it's kind of like me, like when people come in and they're like, "Hey man, you got anything gluten free?" And you're like,
Yep.
"Oh, I swear."
Yep.
Yep. But now we do have gluten free stuff. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah.
That's I say yes with the asterisk. I mean, I don't have a way to like verify that. So I feel kind of, and I use yeast that sometimes is used in beer, which does contain gluten, and I reuse yeast. And so we use enzyme to keep that gluten load as low as we possibly can, but it's very low to undetectable. But beyond that, I don't know. I hesitate to say that it is fully gluten free. You know how you can probably relate as
it's like gluten friendly.
Yeah.
It's not free.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and our establishments, there's so much gluten
in the air, and
like you said, it's in the air, it's everywhere. Yeah. So like, I can't. People ask even at both of the spots now, they're like, "Is this gluten free?" I'm like, "Listen, all right.
If you are celiac, then I don't."
And I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of times you're like, "Well, I can have this." I'm like, "All right, well then maybe that's."
Yep.
But if you're telling me that you have a strong allergy, then I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Exactly.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Please don't. Well, man, let's talk about. I want to talk about the space because we've been there a few times, and it's such a cool space.
Cool.
So you're in Petaway now. You're gonna help me with it. It's so funny because it's so easy to find, but I still put the GPS on. Like every time my wife and I go over there, we had the kids over there like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
For the market Friday night.
Yeah.
But so you go up Main Street and you make a left on 21st.
That's right. It's on 21st Street. So you hit Soma, South Main area, south of 630 Little Rock, and you're going south in Soma. To left on 21st, and 3 blocks down, you're in what's called the Petaway neighborhood, and the square is the small commercial development full of other small commercial storefronts.
Yeah.
Bookstore,
It's
coffee
such
shop.
a cool little area that I feel like not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
And like for the longest time, like people were like, let's go over to Petaway. And I was always like, listen, I'm not from around here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
All right. But there is the coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
There's the bookstore. There's you guys, Moody Brews.
Smash and Stack food
Smash
truck.
and Stacked, which is amazing smash burgers. And then we actually just found when we were there a couple weeks ago that they're a little like, what are they called? Like a little dog shop open.
Yeah,
like the
brand
groomer.
new. Yeah.
What's it called?
Dog treats.
Yeah, dog treats, all this stuff.
Puppy community.
Yeah, making a lot of their own stuff, which is awesome. So in Moody Brews, like you walk in the door, like when you walk in the front door, there's stairs. You can go upstairs. There's a bar there that you can see what you have on tap and everything like that. Amazing people behind the bar. Is Christian still with you?
Oh yeah.
I freaking love that dude.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time his name came up on the podcast
really?
either. I feel like I need a shirt. Like he owes me a Christian shirt or something like that. But love that guy.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable, on point, and you're doing a lot of things over there that a lot of people might not know about. So there is the food truck outside, which I know is not yours, but it's Smashed and Stacked, and But you do food there too.
We do. We've dipped our toes into the waters and getting some traction with them. Yeah. We do sandwiches on a panini press and various kind of having fun. Really, it's what idea can we execute, and then we get a little bit better every week at figuring out how we can do this stuff. Yeah.
And I think
we do not claim to be restaurateurs or chefs.
but I think you're doing it right. First of all, I've seen pictures and I've seen what you're doing over there as far as the paninis go. But and there's snacks too, like you can get a bag of chips and there's snacks in there, which I think at a brewery you absolutely need. Like you have to have,
Yeah.
I mean, if you see me, which I know people out there in podcast land can't see me, but like I like to snack. So like if I'm sitting there drinking a beer, I want to be able to eat something, and so I know you're doing it well because I hear good things about it.
Good.
But you can walk out back. There's a small patio out back, but also you can go upstairs. There's some seating upstairs with a balcony upstairs also.
That's right.
That's my wife and I. That's our favorite spot.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a real cool spot. And then we also have, not too long ago, the whole square is essentially our permitted property.
Nice.
So you can take your beverage out into the square too. And so,
which is awesome.
Real cool. So what accompanies that is we've started doing Friday night jazz out in the square on Friday evenings. And then we try to do a singer-songwriter type music out in the square on Sunday evenings too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned the market. So
and a vendor's market currently at nights just to avoid the heat.
Yeah.
On Saturdays. Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's a big, that's really good too, because we were very much like, okay, well, how this came about was my wife was like, I want to go over to the market. And I was like, are you talking about the one over by Moody Brews? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I walked in the door and I got a beer and I was able to walk around in the market.
Right,
don't take the beer out of the market. All right. Don't be that guy. All right. So, but you can walk.
Don't go
around.
on the front sidewalk. That's not our property.
Yeah.
Out back, you're good.
Out back, you're solid. Which is, it's such an awesome area. It reminds me of like a square in a big city.
Yeah,
like it really
that's the idea.
does. Yeah,
that's the idea.
And
trying to get there.
Obviously, I come from city, and I love those little squares like that. And I think that you guys are doing it right. I have not made it to a jazz night yet, but I know people that have and said that it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
we've got two kind of basically like in residence, two musicians in residence, Christopher Parker and Dave Williams. And Christopher Parker is kind of a savant type. And Dave Williams is too. He's been doing it a long time, performing at his dad's former restaurant called Dave's Place. They're both apparently. We just kind of lucked into this, but they're both like industry vets and highly respected musicians within the community. Christopher Parker is the pianist, and the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra toured with him for a project.
Oh, wow.
Just in perspective.
There's some perspective
level
there.
of blew my mind when I heard that. But so we have two really great musicians, and it has become, I'm not just selling this, it's become almost like therapy for me on Friday nights. Like, the week is hard, long hours, whatever, and then you get to this and it's unexpected for me, but I truly want to be there, and just like kind of, it's this perfect thing if you can still have conversations with people, but then you'll kind of drift in and out of this, mood lifting music in the back. It's to me, it's absolutely like therapeutic, really.
To me, that is like an amazing kind of date night situation.
Yeah.
You can, like, if you can sit upstairs on the balcony and like get an Earl Grey and listen to the music and have a bite, like, that's like perfect. To me, that's like end scene. That's pretty badass. That's awesome. So let's talk about future, man. So we're getting into one of my favorite parts of the year as far as brewing goes.
Yeah.
Because we're in August, which is so funny because a very long time ago, like, Oktoberfest used to be in October.
Yeah.
But it's not anymore.
It's not.
So so August now, we're booting up for Oktoberfest.
Oh, yeah. So there's also a trend it starts with the larger breweries, but even anybody that's producing cans, bottles, packaged beer, big or small, if they're selling to distributors or selling, in liquor stores or grocery stores in particular, you want to be first to market.
Yeah.
And so for the past 10 years or so, there's been this unfortunate trend of Oktoberfest beers happening now, or weeks ago even. And to me, as a consumer, I just have no interest in drinking an Oktoberfest in 100 degrees here. But it's also, you want to be first to market.
Right.
So it is what it is. But when you're not distributed, or you're not having to fight for shelf space, which we're not, we can do that when it feels more appropriate, or at least is historically appropriate.
Nice.
So yeah, we're looking at Oktoberfest, our Oktoberfest, in late September. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do an event.
I was gonna say, do you do like a release or anything?
Yeah, I mean, we generally don't do much of those other than like Friday night. Here it is. This is what we got. But I think for this one, we've been talking about trying to figure out how to do brats, serve fresh, grilled, kind of thing.
Very nice.
Cooked first in beer, and then grilled to order, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just right up my alley. Man. I mean, that's when I think about Oktoberfest, that's what I think about. Like a good beer, a brat. You got some music playing.
Yeah, pickles and pickled onions and some good mustard. Yeah.
We were up at Steinhaus last weekend. Hot Springs.
Yeah.
Love that place, man. Talk about, like, you made me think. You said pickled onions, and I picked and we make pickled onions, and then I tasted their pickled onions. Did you ever taste something and you're like,
damn it,
damn you?
I know what you mean.
My wife was like, is that cardamom? I was like, shut up. But no, man, that's what I think. And Oktoberfest is by far like my favorite time for beer.
Yeah,
it really is that, and summer too, man. Because I feel like I grew up and I grew up drinking like IPAs, like a lot of young guys do, and that kind of thing. I think if you're 50 years old, which I'm not there yet, but it's coming around the corner. Yeah. I think if you're 50 years old and you're drinking IPAs, then you have a good like ulcer working, and you're like, I do like an IPA, but if you're gonna drink an IPA like all day, me, I'm gonna say old heads, I don't do that anymore. Like, I'm a light beer kind of guy, you know what I mean? Like, or the ESB or lager, Pilsner, that kind of stuff. Shout out to Pilsner or Kel, but But Oktoberfest, man, I think there's a good balance there of Oktoberfest beer because it's still very drinkable, but it has that caramel note. And it's just,
exactly.
It's my favorite time.
It's a good one.
For sure. For sure. What is your favorite beer in your lineup right now?
Currently, Pretty Feather is our hazy IPA. That's been one that has been really fun because you get with IPAs, or I guess you can do this with anything, but with IPAs in particular, I rarely make the same one twice. So it's been kind of an iterative.
Yeah.
This round we're doing this hop and seeing how this hop combines with the other. So that's been like an exciting thing to make. Our Pretty Feather hazy IPA. My favorite. It's Earl Grey ESB or maybe Pils. I've been drinking more Pils lately.
More Pils, yeah.
But aside from like the year rounders, I think it's Pretty Feather. Although we did the Couture's beer with Sauvignon Blanc must, and
I did have that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's like really good. It's
really
strong, but doesn't taste too strong. And then I made a joke on Facebook promoting it, and I was like, throw in because of the jalapeno and Sauvignon Blanc trend.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll throw in now everybody's ordering Couture's beer with the jalapenos. Even my wife, who doesn't like spicy stuff.
Just walking in the brewery with like 10 pounds of jalapenos. You're like, here, guys, just clean them and cut them. Whatever. Yeah.
Glove up.
I love how that stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like little things like that.
Yeah.
It's so good. All right. So give me, what's the address over there, Moody?
414 East 21st.
And am I right by saying, stop me if I'm wrong, can you rent out space upstairs? Can you do that?
We can have that conversation. Generally don't. I mean, we've got, all of about 8 bar seats and then the patio if we rent the upstairs, right?
Gotcha.
So generally we can certainly have the conversation. We'll do that for some things, but we don't really, not in the business currently of renting out
Heard
space.
that.
Yeah.
Heard that. Listen, I'm going to throw it out there. If you have not been to Moody Brews, we love, like this time of year moving, and like we love the market in the square, grabbing a beer and walking around. Man, you're just doing amazing things over there. I'm happy to know you.
Yeah.
Happy to call you a friend.
Thanks, Chef.
Like super, super talented. Love the stuff coming out of there, man. If you got to get over to Moody Brews over in Petaway, check out the market. I haven't been to Jazz Night yet, but I will. I will certainly make that. But
we're coming out. Even we called it off 2 Fridays ago, and we shouldn't have. But the weather, it's always an outdoor music, so it's always super fun and stressful to book those things. But we called it off because of heat, and then it turned out to be like the relatively coolest night of the week.
Because that's how
last minute,
yeah.
So we're just currently we're doing it. The musicians want to do it. We want to do it. We're always going to basically have it as long as it's not raining. We got fans and tents, tent city kind of thing going on.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, it's an experience. I think that I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the jazz nights. Got to do it.
Oh yeah. And for those of you that know me, you know that I'm a beer fan. I would say, like, if you get over there, if you haven't tasted any of the Moody Brews beer yet, get over there, and I think that you're going to be very happy with what's coming off of those taps. You got to taste the Earl Grey. I mean, the Earl Grey, if you've never had, you have to put aside all the other tea beers that you drank and just go and drink the Earl Grey. Like, when I say, like, I can taste it on my palate when I talk about it, I can. And to me, that's something. Yeah. There's certain dishes out there, food-wise, there's certain wines out there. Like, when I start talking about them, I can start, like, almost tasting them. But that's one of those situations with that Earl Grey, man.
For me, I had an idea of what Earl Grey was, which was just Twinnings bag, Twinnings Earl Grey. And I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And then I find this other tea vendor, Blue, it just blows it's just different. Yeah. And so we're using this, and I've tried other vendors and come back to Davidson's tea supplier, and it's just a whole different experience of Earl Grey than
It's different, man.
I've had before.
It does.
Yeah.
I grew up a tea drinker.
Did you?
My mom.
Yeah.
My mom. Even to this day, my mom sits every single night. She sits down and she'll like read a magazine and drink her tea. So we grew up, like all of us, me and my two sisters, like drinking tea with my mom at the end of the night.
Okay.
I still drink tea. I'm a tea fan. So I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now I can have like two worlds of mine have met. You know, worlds have collided. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Man, I really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
And dude, check back. I'm here if you need anything, but always check back. I tell everybody, like, dude, let's see where you're at in a year and see what's happening, and come back on the podcast and do this again, man.
Awesome.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody out there, go check out Moody Brews over in Petaway. Arguably the best beer that I've had in the state for sure. Go check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Until next time, thank you for listening to Heaping Spoonful.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.